We have seen an evolution and a changing pattern with movies being viewed in theatres ever since the pandemic. Some who were conditioned to visit the multiplexes every weekend have been told, much to the dismay of Amir Khan, that within a few weeks they can watch the same movie at the comfort of their home, leading to a habit of FOMO and interest that often drew audiences to theatres on the opening weekend to simply fade out. Movies and their reception, however, never have a set formula. No matter how much I or you in the comments would like to hypothesize why a particular movie may work or flop in theatres, there are always bound to be surprises. No one would anticipate that a movie like Pushpa, that begrudgingly gets dubbed by Pen in Hindi and opens to less than 3 crores in the North Indian belt, will go on to become such a success. When Vidhu Vinod Chopra was advised to sell his 12th field to digital platforms, with marketing companies telling him that it will die a premature death in theatres, possibly only making a few lakhs in its run, and it goes on to become the success that it became, trust me, no one anticipated it and no one can create an objective analysis on these phenomena. What we can as viewers of Indian cinema gauge, however, is the quality of a film, and we can be disappointed when something special just does not get the attention of the masses. This includes me too, who in the rigmarole of consistently uploading videos also does not pay attention to some gems. This evolution of the viewing pattern of the audience has made things unpredictable, so I wanted to speak about the list of films from the 2020s that financially tanked and how it really surprised me, as all of these films that I will mention are competent and effective stories. Please do write down your picks also of films that you believe did not deserve to tank post the pandemic. So here is Tried&Refused Productions with 10 Indian movies from the 2020s that did not deserve to flop. Verhira Suran. This is a movie that I am guilty of catching way too late and then not being proactive enough to post a video about. I know I also in my schedule of videos get lost in the sauce of what's a priority and what's not. And I do hear you guys that I should prioritize good cinema first versus what will essentially lead to more engagement. I also want you to know that I'm a one-man army trying his best, so I'm going to really try and be better. This movie really impacted me, for it became one of the many examples of why I have so much respect for an actor like Vikram. A star who is probably one of the most versatile artists, but someone who really doesn't get the same love he dedicates to his roles and the craft. This movie, directed by S.U. Arun Kumar, presents Vikram as Kali at the thick of absolute chaos. You will be constantly disoriented about what is going on in this film. Who are these characters? Who should you side with? Several characters are mentioned, but you have no context about them, but you piece the puzzle along the way. The organized chaos consistently keeps you engaged. The guerrilla-style-like cinematography by Teni Ishwar never rests, much like G.V. Prakash Kumar's invigorating score. There are cops, an influential family, and a fixer like Kali at the thick of it, and all frothing in the mouth for each other's throats. The energy is of desperation, of anger, of vengeance, and of absolute anarchy that only takes a break when the film shifts in the most odd manner to a flashback during its interval block. There are odd shifts to the tempo of the screenplay. While Dashara Vijayan acts absolutely brilliant as the helicopter mother and the possessive wife, she does look like Vikram's niece, honestly, making their 32-year age gap largely apparent. Despite these roadblocks, when the film gets back in the groove of the organized madness, it literally takes the shape of a battlefield. Vikram giving everything physically and emotionally, leaving you in several instances breathless as the sequences carry on in these long shots, scenes having no cuts and so many moving elements that could go wrong. At 59, Vikram channelizes so much energy to the role, I cannot get the scene of him just staring at someone with a monosyllabic reply and just the command he possessed by just simply standing in the scene. Even though the film did not get the reception from the audience that it deserved, I hope it gets the love on the digital platform. Vikram as an artist is truly one of a kind. Mahan, probably if it got a theatrical release, would have been a banger comeback in theatres. But for me, him coming out of the shadows in the horseback in Ponniyin Selvan was enough to know that he isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Maidan. This is a movie that I will defend, rave and spread the word about as much as I can. This is a movie heavily ignored by the masses, not because they particularly hated it, not because there was a controversy surrounding the main lead, but the film just never gained steam at the box office registers. Nothing built the hype for this film that is about the unsung heroes of a sport that is dearly loved in this country but never has been prioritized. We were just speaking about how there is a staleness that has creeped in with the Ajay Devgan performances and how it seems just like an extension of the same old. But But Ajay in Maidan is an anomaly, absolutely exceptional. Wearing his heart on his sleeve, you see Ajay fight the corrupt system, motivate his players, and when the chips are down, rise again despite his frailties physically. The sequences of actual gameplay were nothing short of cinematic and authentic, a rarity regarding portrayal of sport in Hindi cinema. The climax, the final match, and A.R. Rahman's masterpiece. Yes, I am not kidding. Masterpiece Jaane Do playing in the background will forever be etched as one of the most beautiful sequences in Hindi cinema I have seen in years. I really urge you to watch this film. Chhapaak. This is a movie that was riddled with controversies, some unnecessary and some self-induced. When you ask the layman about the Deepika Padukone star at Chapak, they speak about her appearance at JNU, they speak about the primetime news discussions on the assumption that the religion of the attacker had been changed, or the worst, the tone-deaf approach of promoting the movie by doing a makeup tutorial of an acid attack survivor. But no one speaks about the elements of the film that were impactful, heartbreaking, and bittersweet in many ways. The struggle of parents dealing with such a horrific accident that a child endures. Vikrant as the anchor and support to Malti's life, but more importantly, Deepika Padukone being the strength of the film, shedding all vanity and bearing it all for the public. Deepika's Malti is honest, sincere, and extremely earnest. The sequence of her finally seeing her reflection still gives me the chills, a predicament that she finds herself in for no fault of hers. Chapak and the journey of Malti to not be a victim is still the underdog story I will always get behind, no matter what the noise is around the film. Ram Prasad Kiti. This is a movie that is a treat for anyone that wants to see actors, more importantly actors who are masters of the stage, to do their magic on the big screen. Directed by Seema Pava, a family congregates on the Tervi of the patriarch of the family. The organized chaos that follows as the egos and resentment of the family members come at loggerheads with each other formulates into becoming a heartfelt, real and authentic portrayal of family ties that is not spoken about enough. The odd but peculiar nature of family members is highlighted in this film that many people will relate to, of conflicts and unnecessary bickering that take center stage while being a part of a solemn occasion. It's a treat to watch legends in this film just riff with one another. This movie released during the 50% occupancy era of the pandemic and when theaters were mostly ghost towns, so I would highly recommend you catch this film on Netflix. It will honestly play out like an exceptionally acted stage play where humor, irony and earnestness organically blend. Virata Parvam. As one who has come to terms with the fact that Rana Daggupati is going to do everything under the sky rather than act, when he does appear in a movie, it is an event for me. And I still look back at his film opposite Sai Pallavi titled Virata Parvam that really struck a chord with me and made me sad that it could not garner the audience with its theatrical run. We follow the life of Vanilla, played by Sai Pallavi, who is heavily influenced by the writing of Ravi Shankar, a Naxalite leader played by Rana Daggupati. How Vanilla's journey transitions from admiration to being an active part of the movement forms the basic storyline of this bittersweet film that I would highly recommend to all of you. The film is beautifully shot in real locations and is mostly inundated with greys while being surrounded by nature's beauty. A case of portraying the catastrophic events versus where they are taking place. Sai Pallavi is her vulnerable best, and Vanilla's wish to pine and yearn for Ravi really resonates with all of us throughout the journey. Virata Parvam was another reminder for me of what an underrated performer Rana Daggupati is, and while most of the attention of his commercial ventures went to other actors, there is not only a solid but a versatile actor within the man who deserves to be seen in more roles. Superboys of Malegaon. Many people ask me why I did not speak about Superboys of Malegaon the moment it released, and if I were to be completely honest with you, it was mainly because I did not want to be the bummer voice that pulls this film down when everyone is raving about it, to the point of it being the reckoning of an Oscar campaign next year. I liked the film, honestly sincerely liked the film, but I just could not get behind the grandiose manner in which it was being pitched as a masterpiece. This is a film where the duality of Malegaon's reality and the dreams that linger among its streets is its prime focus. The dichotomy is very much the reality of many dreams in a pragmatic and pessimistic world, and the pursuit to make films making Malegaon their own city of dreams through the camcorder lens of Nasir, played by Adarsh Gaurav, was honest and inspirational. The reason why I did not speak about this film with my contrarian and rather pessimistic take on it is because I am an absolute fan of the documentary available on YouTube. This documentary, shot by Faiza Ahmed Khan, is much more hard-hitting regarding the conflicting lives of the motley group of misfits. The health crisis that Shafiq is dealing with, Farooq and his highbrow stance on what cinema should stand for, Nasir's pragmatism kicking in and abandoning the life of the movies, the documentary is much more holistic in its approach of the lives of the group of boys turned men. I must give it to the film that it still made me emotional regarding how it captures the magic of cinema, how many of us may have lost the state of wonder as we are inundated with so much information today that the feeling of novelty on what we saw on the big screen is almost bastardized because we know too much. So to see Shashank Aroda's face light up, seeing himself fly as Shafiq in the movie is still etched in my memory. A great film indeed, but I would highly recommend the documentary available for free on YouTube first. Lapata Ladies. There are times where a favorable word of mouth can only do so much for a movie. The audience can spread the word about a film, but it's only a miracle that can catapult it into becoming a sensation. This is what happened with a small and earnest film like Lapata Ladies. Directed by Kiran Rao, the movie just about had everything that audiences want from Hindi cinema. It boasted of a great and young cast that absolutely hit it out of the park in their roles. It had some of the most beautiful music, and it showcased a tale of great progressive thinking. It did become cookie cutter in its own way of characters wanting to do good and be good. However, I felt like it took the space of the kind of heartfelt films we all desire time and again. The film presumably was in the grain of how it financially performed in theatres if one were to analyze its pre-theatrical revenue, but I think it deserved a little more love on the big screen versus the way it was being raved about on Netflix. Ante Sundraan Nikki. The way Nani backs this film every time he is asked about it during the promotions of his movie just makes me admire him more as an actor, producer and star who is investing in young directors. Ante Sundraan Nikki has all the elements of a rom-com that should have worked in theatres, but I still cannot fathom why it was not lapped up by the Telugu audience. The film focuses on the romantic relationship between Sundar and Leela, students from the same school who meet years later and who come from conservative families, one a pious and religious Hindu household and the other a loving yet reserved Christian family. In the pursuit of conjuring up some stories, Nani and Nazriya imagine several hypotheticals, and these discussions are had with young versions of themselves, accounting for such an inventive take and providing a distinct quality to his storytelling. Whether it be the backwaters of Kerala or even the realization of love for one another. There's a distinct use of visuals to engage you in the romantic union, making me also come to the conclusion that this is one of the most organic developments of a relationship that I have seen in a Telugu film. From the seeds that are sown during their school days, heartbreak that pulls them apart, and for only chance to reunite them again. It's such a breeze to witness. Nani and Nazriya really share great chemistry. Nani really does exemplify that natural star tag, and this being Nazriya's first Telugu film, she really does take the shape of water, assimilating perfectly in the world with ease. The balancing act of commercial notoriety and just good work might be tough for Nani, but I hope he never changes on how he resonates with films like this, because irrespective of their financial fate, they really do stand the test of time, and I think for art, that is a huge win. Sandeep Aur Pinky Faraar. This is a movie that was not getting a proper release for quite some time. Then the pandemic hit and whether or not it would even release became a point of contention. But I remember vividly watching this film in an empty theatre and being in awe of how it developed. With the skill of Dibakar Banerjee and a chilling cold open on the streets of Gurgaon, I couldn't help but already feel like this is going to be a wild ride. Pariniti Chopra is confident. Arjun Kapoor as a suspended Haryanvi restrained cop is surprisingly intimidating, providing contrast and irony through gender roles with the names of the characters and even how they develop over the course of this nail-biting journey. A cat and mouse chase ensues as the duo try to flee the country. The personalities they come across that range from a delightful elderly couple that houses them to the enemies that want Sandip dead formulates into becoming an exhilarating screenplay that does not get enough attention. Jorum. This is a movie and its fate that really broke my heart. Devashish Makhija, the director of exceptional tales like Ajji and Bhosle, really went out of his way to ensure Jorum gets the marketing push that such content deserves. The theatrical run of this film, however, was abysmal, garnering a few lakhs in its box office revenue. Devashish claimed that the financial fate of the movie led to him becoming bankrupt, so much so that he had to beg to his landlord that he does not get evicted, and he is in a state where he can't even afford a bicycle. This gritty and intense thriller that showcases Manoj Bajpayee in one of his finest roles places him in the most physically challenging and mentally daunting predicaments as he runs away from his oppressors with an infant in his arms. Can Dasru aka Bala really leave his violent past behind? What caused such a violent mess? specifically targeted towards him? What is the socio-political context of so many people running behind Dasru? Jorum blends social commentary in a thriller with such finesse, you marvel at the cinematography of Piyush Putti as he traverses through the most intimidating terrain. Dense forests and the concrete jungle that is the city become great markers of even the commentary of the film. Bajpayee even today is doing the balancing act of what draws him in creatively and what makes sense commercially, and I have the utmost respect for him for doing so.